Charles B. Pierce is arguably the most successful independent filmmaker ever to come out of Arkansas. So Charles was born on the 16th of June 1938 in a place called Hammond, Indiana, and young Charles was raised in Hampton, Arkansas, and he remains arguably the most famous citizen of that particular town, quite a small town. And film-wise, young Charles started out in local television in roles as varied as art direction, weather, and even as a kids' TV host. So basically he was a jack of all trades, and that no doubt proved invaluable to his future career as an independent filmmaker. And then Charles Pierce established an ad agency in Texarkana in adulthood, and basically parlayed all of his savings into producing independent features. He had a bit of luck right out of the gate, basically knocking it out of the park with his first independent feature film. Some of you may have heard of it, 1972's The Legend of Boggy Creek, which was truly innovative for the time. So it basically used a documentary film format to create a very effective little drive-in movie, to say the least. And it was one of the most profitable independent films of all time, probably second only to something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Night of the Living Dead. And it was pretty much a mix of interviews and reenactments of encounters with the famed Fouke monster. It was made for a shoestring budget of about $160,000 US, and it went on to make a substantial amount of money. Contemporary trade figures listed at about $4.8 million in 1975 rentals alone, while other sources have long claimed much higher lifetime grosses, of course, which is to be expected because indie filmmaking, especially from the 70s, had a lot of murky accounting. And Blair Witch Project was heavily influenced by The Legend of Boggy Creek. After a few less successful westerns and other genre pictures, Charles B. Pierce hit pay dirt again with 1976's The Town That Dreaded Sundown. So like The Legend of Boggy Creek, this too was based on a real-life local legend / true story. In this case, it was based on a series of unsolved murders in Texarkana in 1946 that were colloquially known as the Moonlight Murders. It sort of set up the tinder that would later become the fire of films like Halloween and Friday the 13th. I'd even go so far as to say that The Town That Dreaded Sundown was an obvious influence on both of these movies, especially on Potato Sack Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2. And the ad campaign's provocative tagline, "The Killer Still Lurks," ruffled a few feathers among local officials, and a relative of a real victim sued over the depiction in the movie, and that all underscored the film's true crime tightrope that it was walking and straddling. So 1979 saw Charles B. Pierce deliver The Evictors, a horror film that kind of disappeared into the ether, although it was quite well received by critics and audiences alike. It's largely forgotten today. It didn't do a lot of business, but it's developed a bit of a cult following ever since. And Charles B. Pierce also shared a story credit on the Dirty Harry movie Sudden Impact, and he allegedly even wrote the memorable line, "Go ahead, make my day," or "Go ahead, make my day." So 1975 saw Charles B. Pierce go back to Sasquatch with Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues. It didn't have the same success as the original, but it is still a bit of a charming movie in its own way. And sadly, Charles B. Pierce passed away in 2010. He's buried in Stewart County Memorial Gardens in Dover, in Stewart County in the United States. And he leaves quite a substantial legacy in the world of cult, exploitation and horror cinema. And he's still remembered fondly to this day by fans as the quirky little independent filmmaker with the cap and the sunglasses. And as for me, probably my favourite Charles B. Pierce movies are, of course, The Legend of Boggy Creek and Boggy Creek 2, The Legend Continues, and of course The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I'd really like to refer to them, I guess, as his Charles B. Pierce's true crime trilogy. And they are quite fondly remembered by the fans. So Legend of Boggy Creek and Boggy Creek 2, of course, wildly different takes on the Sasquatch subject. The second one became a bit of an unintentional comedy, I guess you'd say. But the Legend of Boggy Creek itself, the original movie, can be quite chilling, quite atmospheric, and is well worth checking out if you're unfamiliar with the work of Charles B. Pierce. Boggy Creek 2 and the legend continues. A little bit more light-hearted, of course. A little bit more tongue-in-cheek, I guess, either intentionally or unintentionally. And also a bit more of a vanity project from Charles B. Pierce. I've done a review on the channel of that one if you'd like to check that one out. And the town that dreaded sundown, of course, another quite memorable horror movie based on a true story, which was a formula that really did serve Charles B. Pierce well over the years. You have the hooded killer in Texarkana in the 50s, and it is really quite unique and quite original, despite the fact that it did inspire a plethora of imitators. No one really went down the same route as it. They really just took the basic elements of a slasher killer and, of course, the potato sack mask and ran with the ball, especially in Friday the 13th Part 2. And imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So that is Charles B. Pierce. Little bio on Charles B. Pierce, who I call the one of the masters of true horror. And basically he's up there with Patterson and Gimlin in capturing the public imagination, the public's consciousness when it comes to Bigfoot or Sasquatch. And he has as much to answer for popularising that particular myth, if it is a myth, as the Patterson-Gimlin film or Finding Bigfoot or anything else. So that's all I've got for you this evening. Just enjoying this last bit of daylight in daylight saving here in Australia. Wondering whether I'm going to get attacked by a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, or in this situation, being in Australia, a Yowie. But yeah, that's everything on Charles B. Pierce. Very unique little independent filmmaker. Definitely an auteur. Definitely a bit of a showman. One of those kinds of filmmakers that they just don't make anymore, and those films they don't make anymore. So I definitely urge you to check out the films of Charles B. Pierce, whether it's The Legend of Boggy Creek, Boggy Creek 2, or The Town That Dreaded Sundown, or The Evictors. And if you did enjoy this review and you'd like to find out more about the channel, more about the what else is on the channel, by all means, please like, share and subscribe. And if you're returning and you're enjoying the content, likewise, please like, share and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you all next time.